Today, we are doing more coffee. I have a new toy, which you probably saw in the Discord, so it's not a surprise. But I got myself an Aeropress specifically for today's stream. I've been told they're very, very cool, and they make good coffee. So we're gonna give one of those a go. I have already used it yesterday just to make sure it didn't explode, and we have what I like to call a rug incident. I.e., it goes all over the ceiling. Does this mean next month is your affiliate anniversary? Okay, so the timing's a bit off, isn't it? Because I didn't get affiliate until January. But then this, I suppose this takes you to end of December. And then you'll be 12 months, which is then to the end of January. So January is the anniversary. So you've paid for the 12 months, but it's at you used to pay at the start of the 12 months, which is at the end of the 11th month, isn't it? So that makes sense. That's the way I think Twitch does it. You're paying for the month in advance, not at the end of it. So yeah. Yes. So end of January. It's also start of January is my year anniversary, so I'll do something in January. Do we have a choice of audible or visible mucus today? Yeah, it's one or the other. I can do both. Both is good. Anyway, on to the coffee. Let's not spend an hour talking about coffee, because there are games to play as well. I need to make sure I press the right button. Hey, there's the right button. You can see me moving about at the top of the screen there. I have a setup right here, so I don't have to go over there this time. I need to figure out a permanent setup for this sort of stuff. We've got some IKEA stuff coming, which will sort out like that wall. So maybe I'll like use the top of the organization thing there. Getting out to talk about. Stop mentioning mucus. It's got nothing to do with coffee. How dare you? Yeah. So Aeropress. Let's talk about the equipment first, I guess. So on the diagram, you've got the sort of like the filter at the bottom. You've got like the container for the. I suppose do this off my face, shouldn't I? Let's do it this side, Paul. There we go. You got space. You got the container for the coffee, and then you got the plunger. So you get other things with it, but you got the filter thing. And it uses paper filters. Now, I've already used this one once, which is why it's a bit discoloured. It comes with 350 filters, though. And they are reusable about like 3 or 4 times. And there's 2 there. They're quite thin. But they're extremely fine. So that goes in there. That then screws onto the bottom of this, which is where all the coffee goes. And it's got some numbers on the side, which I'll explain. So that basically just goes like that. And then it's filtered, as you can see. And then you got the plunger, which is literally as it, it's like a syringe plunger, because it is about pressing through. This is backwards for me because the camera's different. It's about pressing it through, and this is so tight that it is literally airtight. It's air and water tight that it pushes all the way through, and it's very hard to push, even when there's nothing in there. But that's basically, so what this emulates is an actual espresso machine, okay? So you put like very fine grinds. I've gone a little bit less fine today, but I've got my coffee, which I'll go over in a second. But you're meant to put like quite fine grinds, and it's like a manual way of doing espresso. Also, they say you can do other sort of methods with it, but it's manually doing an espresso because it's so fine, and it's about the pressure. So with an espresso machine, it uses water pressure to literally like force the water through the compacted cake of the grinds, which are like all compacted in, which then draws out all the stuff, and that's why it's finer. 1, so the water can get through it, and 2, so what's the word? What's another word for little? Less. The contact time is a lot less for my brain's not working. Contact time is a lot less for the water and the coffee coffee grinds in an espresso. So that's why it's finer. But with like a cafetiere French press, they're much coarser because basically you're stewing it up for a few minutes. This is literally like seconds, if that. So that's all this is basically it makes an espresso shot. But, so you got like the numbers on the side, so you stick up to 1, and that's 1 espresso shot. And you can go up to 4 at a time. And you just put more grinds in. But people have then started to use it for more of a infused sort of, like more like a French press sort of way, where you would keep the grinds in there, you'd swirl it around a bit, put more water in, and it's less less like an espresso, more like French press. So we're going to do both methods today. We're going to follow the instructions that come with it to do the espresso shot, and then we're going to do, because it tells you, that's not English, like it tells you just drink it as is for espresso, or do the usual stuff to make it a latte or whatever, and it says only fill it up to 0.1 for 1 espresso shot. So we're going to give that a go. What have I missed? It's a very pressing matter. Small, wee, petite, tiddly. I was going to go... I was thinking lesser. But I can't think of... The contact time is less is the correct way of saying that. Clammy Games. Hey, how's it going? Happy Sunday. Welcome in. Welcome in. We're going to be making some coffee. I'm not sure if you've joined us for one of these coffee mornings. I say morning. It's afternoon. I'm full of cold. I apologise. I don't think you've joined us before. If you have, I have forgotten because of my cold. We're currently going to make a couple of Aeropress coffees. I'm not sure if you're a coffee person, but stick around. I'm talking through the process. And feel free to ask any questions. You're not a coffee guy. So just gotta look. Well, you know what? You could make tea with this as well. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Maybe I'll do that one time. Yeah. You can use an espresso machine to make tea. Does anyone know that? Same basic principle. Right, the Aeropress. So we got the the container, the filter papers, the little container for the filter papers that they give you, the plunger. But you got a little scoop for the measuring. That measures about somewhere between 15 and 20 grams, depending if it, obviously the grind and the beans themselves. I measured out beans first, which means there's more air. You got a little stirry thing, so when you give it a little stir, and you got a funnel so you don't miss it when you're pouring things in. And that's all you get. But that's all you need. And it's quite small, compact. They even do an even smaller compact one for traveling, which comes with a cup built into it, like fits around it. But that's perfect. This would be perfect for camping. Yeah, that's the equipment today. Like I say, we're going to be doing 2. We're going to do an espresso shot one, and then we'll do a more like a French press, more coffee based one. I haven't got any milk in here. I've just realised. Oh well, what a shame. I'm not like I can taste anything with this cold anyway. You're an uncultured swine. No, I mean it's all right. Some people just don't like coffee. Today's coffee, speaking of which, is on screen. The details are below. It comes from Packed Coffee again, because that's the subscription I've just currently got. It's called La Laguna, and it comes from Colombia. I can't actually see that. Can you see that on camera? It's very out of... I can't... There we go. No, this way, Paul. There we go. I'm trying to do it upside down so my hands aren't paying attention. It doesn't actually tell you anything. It's got hints of mandarin, orange, and dark chocolate, and I can tell you right now, I can definitely smell the chocolate in it. Oh, yes. It's a medium roast. I think this is the first medium roast we've had from Packed, so this will be quite interesting. I haven't used this one yet. This came the other day. It was roasted on the 22nd, packaged on the 23rd. I think we got it on Thursday. So it is a few days old, actually, now. What day was Thursday? Thursday or Wednesday we got it, and then I kept it for today. Like I say, grind size, my grinder still isn't very good, but I've gone for a medium fine sort of grind. When I was testing this yesterday, I went a bit finer, and it was quite hard to plunge, and I'm not sure if that was right. And it also came out slightly bitter, so I think I've got it better this time. But we'll give it a go. So, the method that they say is put the filter in, obviously. Put the filter in the bottom of the chamber, obviously. And then, it doesn't actually tell you to use the funnel, which is interesting. It says 1 rounded scoop of fine drip. That's not words. Oh yeah, put it on the mug first, because it does start dripping straight away. Although that you use the pressure to push the coffee through, it does start dripping. There are ways to get around that. There's like the inverted method where you can store it, like start doing it that way and then flip it over when you're ready. We will be giving that a go at some point. Not today. I don't think I'm in the headspace for it today. Put 1 rounded scoop fine drip grind coffee. I mean, I've just ground it myself. So, is that a rounded scoop, would you say? Now, that'll do. I forgot to put the actual... Can you even see this? You can. There we go. So, there's our coffee gone in. Lovely jubbly. Give it a little bit of a shake to level. Nothing should go through to the actual mug at this point because the filter is extremely fine. I mean, if they go through, you've ground your coffee way too fine. At this point, I actually need hot water, and it says 80 degrees, which is an interesting one because usually they say it has to be 95 degrees for coffee. So I'm going to go off. It needs to be slightly cooler. I'm not going to measure the temperature, but we have. I brewed a kettle, what, 15 minutes ago, so it should be about 80 degrees now. Give that a go. I will go get the kettle. Stand by. Okay, thank you. Now, this isn't one you need a gooseneck kettle for, because you don't have to be accurate at all with the whole... I mean, I suppose you could bloom the coffee in this. It doesn't tell you to, and everything I've read online was like, meh. Because you don't bloom an espresso in the espresso. You can pre-wet the puck in an espresso machine, but that's people being fancy. So I'm not going to bloom the coffee. I'm literally going to fill it up, as it says, to point number 1. This will be fun. Hot water's going to go everywhere. See, that doesn't seem like a lot, does it? But this is for an espresso shot, I guess. So you'd only get about that much worth of coffee. I will transfer it across when we're done to see if it actually does give that much. Then you give it a little bit of stir with its special provided stirry thing. I'm guessing this is just designed this way so you don't drop it in, because you can just leave it there like that, which is quite cool. It says for 10 seconds, which is about that, and then it says insert the plunger. Unfortunately, I can't get you a good shot of this. Maybe I can do it up on here, because it's going to need a lot of pressure, you see. There is a very tight rubber seal. Oh, okay. Pausing when you feel resistance, it says. I'm putting a lot of pressure on it. And what you can see, I don't know if you can see that, is, oh god. No, you can't quite see that. Because it's airtight, the air is pushing the water down. Joe, we literally just started doing the coffee. It's bong time. I've just started my first press. We're doing the espresso one this time around. I'll do a bigger one in a second. I'm going to do 2 because I don't think this is going to be enough. We're following the actual instructions to only get 1 espresso shot. I'll go over the equipment if you want in a second, but I'm currently pressing down on the plunger. It's now hissing because all the water has now come through it. Right, we'll leave that there. And what that's given us is sticky water. There shouldn't be any water left. Oh my god, were you? Right, okay, well this is the disaster because I have to fix it up. I'm full of cold. You probably can't hear me when I'm also down here. I didn't think that one through. Stay. And there you go. There is our espresso shot. Let me put my headphones back on. I was wondering why we were talking about grinds. So there's the espresso shot. It's quite dark. I mean, I can't even see the light of the camera through it. So that is quite concentrated. I'm gonna pour it into my actual espresso sized cup to see. Hell, you know what? That is an espresso. That is the exact amount. That is amazing. I'm gonna leave it to sit for a second. Joe, let me introduce you to an Aeropress. It's got a chamber, it's got a plunger with a rubber gasket, I guess it is, which is extremely airtight and watertight, so it forces everything down. You've got paper filters, which are like this, extremely thin, extremely fine, and you use it to make espresso shots without an espresso machine, as I have just done, because it's using the same like pressure to force water through the grinds, the fine grinds, which are then being caught by the paper filter. There you go. It's extremely easy to clean as well, which I'll show you now. This is everything you get with it as well. You get like a funnel to put the grinds in, a stirrer, container for the paper, and a scoop, which is about, I said 15 to 20 grams, depends. The way they say you clean it is literally take that off, so there's nothing left there. Stick that paper filter. You can peel that off. You can wash those and reuse them. I have used this one twice now. Apparently you can use them like 3 or 4 times. And then because it's so airtight, this will just push out the entire cake. Boom. Bah. Job done. And all you need to do then is rinse that. Everything inside the chamber has been pushed out. How cool is that? And you can make, so it's got, like, so that was up to the 1, that's how much made that coffee, but you can obviously fill the whole thing, which is what we're going to do now for the second method. So this method produced an espresso style. Big old syringe, it is basically a big old syringe, yes. How many filters do you get with it? 350, and like I say, they say you can wash them and reuse them probably about 3 to 4 times. So I don't think I'll ever be topping up on the filters. They're paper, so you can recycle them, compost them, I believe. But you can also get metal ones, and I'm going to get a metal one eventually to see what the difference is. Anyway, shall I have an espresso shot and see what it's like? Not bad, not bad. It's a little bitter. And I don't know if that's me, because I'm not too a big fan of bitter in my coffee. Those that weren't here, we try and getting new bean new roast today, which details are on the screen. Yeah, that's quite bitter. Seems Seems to have extracted enough, I would say. You're a better boy. But that's the thing. So it tells you. So that's the espresso shot, and then you can then literally carry on doing. Oh come on, get it on camera. Americano, latte. You literally just, do the rest of the stuff. It's just you don't have a espresso machine. So yeah, it's just a quick and easy and very easy to transport way of making an espresso shot, and I like it. It's nice. It's. I'm gonna have always have a glass of water if you're having a pure espresso shot that's just black, because it does help to sip water with an espresso shot. Like most places, if you go to Italy and you get an espresso, they will probably give you a small glass of water as well. Also sip it, don't just down it like I just did. I'm not sure if the water was warm enough. I know the kettle boiled about, let's say, 20 minutes ago, and then it was put on for like a reheat just before I said I'm going to get the kettle. But I don't think it's warm enough. That came out, it's quite cold. I don't know if that's a process after the coffee, though. That's interesting. No grinds came through, though, which is good. You can see that in both mugs. So it is extremely good at filtering. So what we're going to do now, technically they say wash it and, dry it. But sod it, whatever. We're going to try the other method. Anyway, how are you doing, Joe? You got some drip on the way. Boil again. Actually, yeah, let's boil the kettle again while I set up. Let's do that. Right. I should have that on there so you can see the coffee I'm using. Really good for traveling, yeah. So I like to say they do make a travel version which only has up to 3. It comes in a cup that surrounds the whole thing, so a small, like a folding stirrer and stuff like that, so that you can travel with it. But I don't see that why this is too massive to go anywhere. You don't have to take all your filters with you. You don't have to take the funnel with you. I think it's small enough to travel with. Right. I do apologise, I am very snotty. That could also be affecting my taste. Right, what was I doing? We put the new filter in. This is roughly about the same amount as I did before, because I did 2 scoops. Ugh. 2 and a bit scoops, just to make sure. So you can't quite see how much that is. It's up to there, so there's like that much in it. So the method I'm going to be using, I got my book, is the one that this guy, who I've been telling you about, James Hoffman, he recommended this on his channel. I don't know if it's in here actually, method. I should check. I don't think it would be. Oh yeah. 84. Let's have a look. If it's in here, I'll follow it based on this. The Aeropress, it is. So there's the traditional, And then so he added more water in the traditional one. Yes, so yeah, we're following his traditional one. That's what we're going to be doing. I'm good. We have a lot of snow last night. Oh wow. Couldn't make it to Lawrence High School. Oh, that's a shame. That's... Oh man. At least you got takeout. Kettle is boiled. Ooh, thank you. It's really cold here, but no snow yet. We had a hell of a lot of hail on Friday. It did coat everything in white, but then it melted, obviously. Snow up north, okay, yeah. So the method is grind the coffee just before you start brewing. Well, I mean, 20 minutes isn't going to make much difference. Be sure to weigh the coffee first. Now he says, if you want to brew something closer to a regular cup of coffee, suggest ratio of 75 grams per litre. I don't know how many litres are in this bloody thing. Oh, how many millilitres, I guess. Does it say? Does it say how many millilitres? I don't think it does. And he handily has not said how much that is, according to his measurement. I suppose because there are different sizes, it's best not. Right, let's stick it on our stable cup. You gotta put a lot of pressure on these, so always have a stable cup. Coffee's in there. Rinse hot. Oh, he says rinse the paper first. Oh crap! Well, I didn't do that step. Wait for 10 to. Oh yeah, well, we waited. Then add 200 milliliters, for example, 15 grams. So I did 200 milliliters yesterday. It came up to almost the top. So I'll just go straight to the top. We won't go all the way to the top because I do need to get the plunger in there. Give the coffee a quick stir. Stirry, stirry, stir. Stirry, stirry, stir. Come on. There we go. It's already started dripping through the bottom, but that's fine. It does that. Okay, so, oh, can you see it's already started to drop? Then put the piston part in the Aeropress in place. Make sure it seals. Yep. Don't push down just yet. Just creates a vacuum so the coffee stops filtering through, basically. It hasn't done that yet. There's going to be a little bit of, obviously, leeway with the whole air pressure and whatnot. But what that will do is it will stop it from dripping all the way through, and it'll give the coffee more time to do that French press sort of stuff. So this is more. This would be closer to a French press sort of. You've got all the grinds and the water mixing for a longer period, rather than the traditional way of doing that, according to these instructions, which is like an espresso machine. You're just forcing that water through at high pressure. You're punching it through those grinds. It has stopped dripping. I'm not sure if I can show that. You can see some has come through, a bit more than I would like, but you can see it's still quite full. So this might get rid of that bitterness that I was talking about. So maybe this would be my preferred option when using this. It's so easy to use though and clean. You don't even have to wash it that often, apparently. It just says every, so often take the rubber off the syringe and rinse it out to make sure nothing's getting behind it. Right. After a period of brewing, I recommend starting with 1 minute. Take the mug and brew off the... Oh, he has them on scales, because of course he does, because he's very pedantic about how much water per second you put in and stuff like that, which I'm not that bothered about yet. When I get a gooseneck kettle, maybe I will. But they have, you know, he has scales so you can see how much water he's putting in. Yeah. Apparently makes better coffee. Who knows? Right. Slowly push down on the plunger until the liquid has been expelled. So, has it been a minute? I reckon it's been a minute. Let's give it a go. I wonder if I can give you a better angle without ruining everything. Here. Give me a second. I'll lower the frame. You can really see how dirty everything is now. It was clean when I started this. That's just the coffee. Right, yeah. So as I plunger, you'll be able to see. There we go. Down to the 2. This is a lot weaker, this one, than before. See? Right, and then it's going to start hissing. I do apologise, you probably can't hear me very well. It's going to start hissing as the water runs out. There you go. And now we're just forcing the rest of the air through. And then we'll eventually get to the part where we're compacting. There we go. Can't push anymore because we're compacting the cake of the coffee. So, there you go. And then he says, pull it back a little bit. But from dripping, means then I can stick it on anything and it won't drip. And there we go. There's our coffee. I'll hold up this one. Yeah, it's fairly dark. I can see through it more than the espresso though, but you'd expect that. You'd expect that. Did he say anything else? Oh, it's just how you clean it, which I showed before. You just open the thing, peel off the paper, and it just comes out in one puck. Yeah, and you can reuse the paper like 2 or 3 times. There we go. I'm going to give it a taste. This one hopefully shouldn't taste as bitter as the other one. Certainly hotter. Ooh. Now I know I have a cold. It's definitely not as bitter, which you'd expect because of the way we've done it. I can't taste. So this said hints of mandarin, orange, and dark chocolate. I could smell the dark chocolate when I grind it. I cannot taste anything of that nature. This is the first time I've tried this roast, so I don't think it's a fair judgment considering I've got a cold. Although it is nice and light. It's a nice light, so it's a medium roast, which is the first medium I think I've had from Pack. It's a nice, you know, it's not strong, it's not, oh, I can, oh, I can smell that chocolate if I hold it right up to my nose. Like, it's not overpowering, even though it's black, it's not overpowering, and I don't know if that's due to the method I've done it, or the beans themselves. I'm going to have to compare this to my drip maker to see if they come out, you know, in the same way, or whether it's the Aeropress. So maybe we need to do a comparison of the Aeropress on the house blend, which I have a lot of. All ground coffee smells of chocolate. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. That's true. Well, most do. Depends. They can put like overpowering scents on them. That's nice. I like that. I could drink that black. I could. That's which is very uncommon for me. I usually put. I'm fine with black coffee. I usually put a little bit of milk in, just because I prefer that taste. I like this taste, but I prefer that taste. That's a good coffee, and I don't know. I'm gonna have to test it with something else to see if it is the Aeropress or whether it's the beans. I probably should have tried 2 new things at once. That's me. That's my fault there. Yeah, there we go. Does anyone have any questions about the Aeropress? I can show you the extraction method again. Let's do that. So, you'll see, I take that off, and this like little cap thing has nothing in it. It's all held by the paper. Paper comes off. You can wash that. I will be. And you'll see. All we gotta do now is, come on, push it out all the way, and everything comes out. And all you gotta do then is rinse that. You literally only have to rinse it, because it scrapes so finely against there. It is airtight and watertight, to a point where it will just clean it completely, is what they say. It is dishwasher safe though. I did put it all in the dishwasher for the initial clean. There we go, and then you have some compostable coffee. First of the day usually needs milk. Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, I went through a phase when I was in work, actually in the office. We had a, drip machine. Makes a big coffee, like our smart one, Sam. It was one of those, but not smart. So we constantly just put on 12 cups, because there were enough of us to drink the coffee, and we all had a coffee club where we all bought beans and stuff. And I went through a phase where I would drink that, because that comes out so different every time, depending on how much you put in the basket, how, you know, what beans you're doing, but you know you're going to get 12 cups from it. I went through a phase, especially when I was like exercising more and trying to maintain my weight, of just having black coffee the whole time. I would have like 5 or 6 in a day, but black coffee is something like 6 calories compared to 60 calories, which if you add milk, you know, it's, and if you add sugar, that's, you know, you're in hundreds of calories then. So, and that's not a lot of calories, but considering how little calories you burn through like a 5k run, it adds up. It does add up. So I was like, yeah, I'll just switch to black coffee, and I was just used to it then. And then for some reason I gave up on that idea. I think it might have been around the time that I might have lost some taste and smell, because I got a very bad cold, or possibly COVID. We don't know. In fact, this cold has brought back some taste and smell, which is weird. You said something about not needing to bloom the coffee first. What is blooming in terms of coffee, and why would you do it? Should we consult the Bible? Blooming is... So, I'm not sure if I can just demonstrate this now. But you put your ground coffee into the thing that you're going to make it with, and you add just enough water to the grinds so that the water soaks in, and the oxygen that's contained and all the gases that are contained within those ground beans that you don't want, they all come out in bubbles, and it sort of expands. All the grinds expand like a little bit, so it like breathes out, and then it absorbs the water back into the holes where the I think there's probably some better science than what I'm talking right now, but the water basically gets in there, and it releases all those things that you don't really want. So what does it do? Let me see if he talks about it. I hope he does. Bloom, page 80. Oh, we're almost there. The bloom. It's common practice. I'm going to read directly from the book here. It's common practice of adding just a little water to the coffee at the start of the brew, usually just enough to get all the coffee wet, but then obviously nothing starts dripping through, or very little starts dripping through. When you add the hot water, the grounds start to release the trapped carbon dioxide. I think there's also nitrogen and oxygen in there, but carbon dioxide mainly. And the bed of coffee will swell like dough rising. It does swell. It is typical to wait 30 seconds before starting to add the rest of the brew water. Despite the widespread nature of this practice, there isn't a lot of science to justify it. Oh, great. Well, it might be that releasing some of the carbon dioxide helps make the coffee easier to extract. That's what people say, is because it's like pre-wetting a filter means that the water you're using that has then taken coffee on isn't being absorbed by the filter because it already has water. I don't know, though it's clean water, already has water in it. So the water passing through a filter is easier. There's little methods like that they say you can do to make it the extraction better. Some studies seem to support this. I think it also adds a pleasant moment in the morning coffee ritual. There you go. You don't have to bloom. Most people do. You typically wouldn't bloom, like I say, an espresso, because like when you're in Costa, they stick the arm thing from the espresso. I'm talking very basic terms. They stick the little container thing into the grinder thing. It just deposits the coffee on it. They tamp it down. The tamping makes the compact cake, which acts as like part of its own filter. They then just jam that into the machine, and that's it. There is no pre-wetting of that coffee. There's no warming up of that coffee. It's just forcing hot, steaming water through it. So you don't have to do it all the time, because if it was good, why wouldn't you do it? Some people do pre-wet their pucks in those little containers before putting things on. Some people run hot water through the system first to warm up the system. My electric drip filter has a preheat function, which warms things up, but that's just generally so that coffee doesn't cool, because coffee cooling and then warming again, or just cooling in general, changes the taste. When you were patient zero for the UK, yes, when we came back from Italy, before Italy declared itself having a pandemic, we came back from Venice, northern Italy, then a week later closed all its borders. And we could have been... I had a bad cold for 2 days. It wasn't... I don't think it was COVID. But it was a good coincidence. And this was like 3 weeks before the UK lockdown, yeah. It expels gases, yes. You just get tasty coffee. So there's people say it makes a smoother coffee. There's talk of, when you're reviewing coffee, of like the mouth feel and the texture of the coffee, and like whether it's smooth, creamy, all this stuff. Some people say it's pretentious, but it's like, it's like any cooking or brewing thing. They all have some sort of science behind them. But yes, I'll show you the images. Oh wait, that's a different image. That's for the previous page. Why is that on this page? Well, I'm not going to show you the image for that one then. Wet the dries. Exactly, wet the dries. That's a very nice coffee. I'm going to go put this stuff away.